are all fellowship and doubling up as volunteers to conduct these programs by providing back-end supports. Dear viewers and participants from across the country, I have great pleasure in welcoming you to yet another edition of this Zoom meeting series being organized by Vayomanasa Sanjeevani, an outreach arm of Geriatrics Department of NIMHANS, Bangalore, headed by Dr. P.T. Shivakumar and ably supported by Dr. Vijay Kumar H and a team of dedicated doctors and volunteers like Fatima and Jyoti. I heartily welcome Priyadharshini Iyer, a person with a rare dual qualification, that is, qualified as a medical doctor as well as a lawyer and practicing as an advocate in Supreme Court of India and other high courts. Dr. Priyadharshini has obtained her MBBS degree from Jawaharlal Nehru Medical College, Belgavi, previously known as Belgaum, in the year 1998. Post that, she had obtained MD in Forensic Science from York University, Canada, law degree from VV Puram Law College, Bangalore, post-graduation diploma in medical law and ethics from National Law School, post-graduation diploma in forensic sciences and criminology from Madras University, LLM in international law from Coventry University, United Kingdom, PhD in counter-terrorism strategization related to bioterrorism from London School. When I asked her the reason for joining law education, she had, after finishing a MBBS degree, which by itself is considered to be a complete course, she had replied that I joined law because medicine was to free the body from diseases and law was to free the soul from the injustice of life. And life and file are important for one's health and dignity. She had also stated that she has a thirst for knowledge and zest for life. So she has created a niche for herself in the virgin land of medico-legal arena. Dr. Iyer is a member of International Bar Association, Interpol Congress, Confederation of Indian Industries and Karnataka State Bar Association. She is a ferocious reader and ever-learning student of science and law. Added to the qualification, she is a lover of art, music, knowledge in the field of mythology, Upanishads, Bhagavatam, Vedas, spirituality, and yoga. She believes in principles of natural justice and universal love. She strongly adheres to the thoughts and practice of a lawyer. She firmly believes a lawyer has to be physically fit, mentally alert, and morally correct. All her above qualified qualities and qualifications ideally suit the topic of the day, namely creation of will. Often people mistakenly think that a will needs to be written only by a rich person and may not be needed for others. However, although there are some instruments like nomination is available for transfer of one's wealth to the heirs post one's demise, a properly executed will is perhaps the best process to seamlessly transfer one's estate to the chosen one post his or her demise. In addition, there are wills known as advanced medical directive, commonly known as living will, wherein a person declares the type of treatment she or he needs to be given in case of his or her inability to communicate during treatment. The person can decide the type of treatment provided to him. The Parents and Senior Citizens Act also gives some special concession to senior citizens to rectify a wrong transfer of property done by him or her. I'm sure that Dr. Priyadharshini will touch upon all these aspects in her presentation. As a meeting hygiene, I request all viewers to keep their mic muted and raise any questions by typing it in chat window. The resource person will respond to them. At the end of her presentation, participants can unmute and raise their doubts subject to availability of time. Yes, Doctor and Madam, the floor is open to you. Please go ahead. Doctor?
or a presentation, I would like that you people ask me questions related to how you want to make a will, what are the provisions, what are the things you want to do. So, all these things I can tell you so that it will practically help you, because this is basically for senior citizens. And senior citizens might be undergoing so many things which might not have been told to even their children, and or you are not in a position to tell them. And if you tell them whether there is any risk of the information being misused, or if you don't tell them what are the difficulties that's going to arise after one's demise, is what is about the concern we are facing. Let me give a brief introduction. Why, what is a will? Why is it important? And why you should do it? Because see, let's, whoever is born has to die one day, right? But then I told you why I became an advocate, because I became an advocate only because I seen patients telling me that, Madam, I don't know what would happen to me. My daughter, husband is troubling her. I don't know if something happens to me, what would happen to my daughter. Some I have seen elderly people telling that I have properties, my son-in-law is trying to grab it, or my daughter-in-law is trying to grab it. And I have also seen this wherein the elderly people, when admitted in hospitals, the daughter-in-laws coming and telling the duty doctor or the ICU doctors to kindly remove the gold and all these ornaments and give it to them. So such things I have seen with patients happening. So these are the things that, especially if it is a mother-in-law, her properties, her ornaments, her whatever her belongings, all these are at stake. And if it is men, they also will be having their properties, then their valuables, their records, whatever they are into. So these things are always at stake, and death can come to anyone at any time, and it is unwarranted and definitive thing happening to anyone. So coming to this, I feel that it is very important that one should not live at a in a what do you call breme ಬದುಕಬಾರದು, means we should not live in illusions thinking that we are going to live forever. I feel one should enjoy their life to the fullest, and then also think simultaneously that if at all I leave something, for whom it should go. And when it is about to whom it should go, then the question of credibility comes. Whether that particular person for whom you're offering as a gift or after your demise, whether that person have those credentials to take that. Then you have to think about whether it is a self-owned property or it is a family property, ancestral property. Because the Hindu law goes on joint family transfer of property rights, depends on the joint family, what do you call? It is all about the joint family properties. So basically, now I don't know how many of you have ancestral properties. I don't know how many of you have personal properties where you have earned and then you have acquired it through your hard work. So how these properties have to be. So now the properties will again be divided into movable and immovable properties. Movable properties are those ornaments, it might be costly books, it might be costly things, it can be antiques, it can be watches, it can be anything belonging to you. Then it might be cash in the bank, it can be insurance, it can be mutual funds, it can be any investments in gold bonds, then it might be a money which is kept in some place, or chiti hak taragota, the chit funds. So it might be a bank, it might be anything. So mark very well that you have to first decide to which, whether you're a Hindu, you're a Muslim, or a Christian. Though we say our country is secular, it's unfortunate that we have the Hindu laws separate, the Muslim laws separate, the Christian laws separate. And all the laws and inhibitions and things are only for the Hindus. So, but death is for all same. So be it Hindu, Muslim or Christian, everyone will be having their properties, that is movable and immovable. And I told you what are the movables. And I told you what are the movables. The movables are those things which are assets you have kept, which can be readily taken as it is. Whereas immovables are your properties. It can be a property which is acquired either by you, it is called a self-earned, or a property which is ancestral. So this should be your thing. Then another thing that should be for Hindus is whether it is a joint family property. So if it is a joint family property, how this particular thing would, making a will comes into it. And if it is a Christian or a Muslim or any person, making a will, no, it doesn't, the law doesn't impede anyone from making a will. You can make a will, whether being your Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever it is. So, but your will, what you make, should not lead to suspicion, number one. Number two, it should not lead to multiplicity of litigations. Number three, the will should be in such a way very clear. What is your intent? It should have your intentions present in the content of the will. Number four, to whether the will has to be kept in your house or kept with your advocate office or in the locker. Okay, then, and what would happen after your demise? Who are the beneficiaries? What are their characters? Because you will be knowing better about your children and your relatives and your people, whoever is there with you. And human mind is so complex, and it is always, human mind goes into criminality. So we don't know, for money, for property, for pleasure, what can happen to these sort of people who are going to act upon the elderly people. Why this particular program is organized is exclusive. See, as kids, someone is taking care of them. Whereas for elderly people, there are no much support system, and you can understand, but you are a storehouse of knowledge. You are a storehouse of experience, basically. And you are a storehouse of blessings. This is how, as a society, should view the elderly people. Because what I am today is because of my grandparents. And it's because of them that I have learned, because they were having such immense knowledge and their guidance. And that is how I have always, to Dr. Vijay Kumar, whenever he called me for an elderly people geriatric things, I was always ready to address these issues and help the society. So therefore, elderly people, you have many things which you might not be able to express, or you might be facing, or you might, because of your inability to move, or inability to remember, or inability due to some disorder or diseases. Okay, so but you need not fear about all this. When, don't go to the extent of you getting too aged. Try to make a will at an earlier stage of your life. So the question, when to make a will, please write down. When to make a will. And who should make a will? Anyone can make a will. Be it 20 years boy who has, it is not necessary that only people who have properties are supposed to make a will. We don't know. Suppose a young boy of around 25 years writes a will. Let us assume he has no properties, he has nothing. All right. But he might have returned something and kept, wherein he says that this is my wish. So it might be like a death note, it might be anything which the parents want to follow it, or their sister, brother, husband, wife, whoever it might be, they can follow those, the contents of the will. Basically, why a will is made? Because a person thinks beyond death, life after death. So basically, after death, after your presence is not there in this society, you are spiritually present. No one dies. That is what our Bhagavatam tells all the time. Our spirit cannot be killed, and we are Sanatan. So every human is millions of years old. So we are in this society. So in this birth, it is a great gift of God, and this gift should be used appropriately and in accordance to law and morality. Therefore, You people have to see that. Don't wait for your last minute to get bedridden. Write a will when you are very much conscious and when you are very much easily accessible to your doctor, where you can write a requisition letter to the doctor telling that, doctor, I want to make a will. Am I fit to make a will with the present whatever I am? So the doctor will say, yes, you are mentally, physically, everything fit to make a will. Fine. That itself is one requirement of to make a will. Now, you going to an advocate and asking, doctor, I'm in advocate, sir, I want to make a will. The lawyer will say, okay, fine, we will make a will. There's nothing, no problem in it. Then here also, if you give a requisition letter to the lawyer asking him, so and so law firm, so and so person, I request that I own, these are my properties, these are the documents I'm providing, and I own these properties in various places. I have this many children, and these children are aged so and so, they are working in so and so and so, they are married to so and so and so, they are having their children so and so, whatever you can write about all the details about your children. Okay, that is very important to segregate who are the children, what are they, how are they, and all this marital status, their gender, their address, their education qualifications. All these details have to be given at the time of making a will. So if you give this letter to the lawyer, this itself is a evidence to show that you are mentally fit to make a will. So your will not be challenged at any point of time. So I always tell that before, don't wait for yourself to go to the bedridden, immobility. When you are mobile and when you are conscious and when you are, in a good state of mind, and when you know the characters of your children and people around you, it need not all the time be only children. It can be wife, it can be husband, it can be your employees, it can be your friend, it can be anyone who comes to you in your life. So be very careful and do not disclose. If it is a third person, do not disclose about your properties, do not disclose about your difficulties to your third person in the society. And if you are scared about your children or your family, your wife or husband, please discuss it with the doctor. And your doctor would be able to help you out in reaching the legal team or the police or the law enforcement. So this is very important. Do not fear. Do not fear that you're aged. Do not fear that you are unable to walk. Do not fear that you are unable to you remember sometimes. Do not fear of death. Death is definitely there, and it is the ultimate pleasure actually on this earth. So do not fear death and keep hold of your things. And when you are having good memories, please write, don't have a habit of writing down all the properties and things, and always keep it as a very confidential thing, not being known to anyone. Please hand it over to your advocate and tell about your emotional state of mind, your family affairs, and your treatment at home, all these things to the doctors to whom you go. So they will definitely make it a note in their case history. So if anything untoward happens also, and if they are going to go and give evidence in the court of law, it will be in your favor. So even after your death, you will get your justice. So remember what I say, that you should be always careful in knowing whom to believe, whom not to believe. Your condition, your immobility, your difficulties should not impede you from going to the doctor or to the lawyer and telling them the facts. Don't fear that. Okay, and try to keep certain things very confidential even to your family, because a will is something which is very confidential. Number one, confidentiality of a will has to be maintained. I've seen many a times wherein the family comes to me or to my seniors and asking them that, doctor, I want my father to make a will. See, the children will come and tell you make a will. And I have seen where the children will ask the parents, you make a will in favor of me. So the will itself is prepared by the kids only. So what is this one in it? The big hangama out of making a will? Why should you make a will at all then? If it is going to be disclosed to your children. So don't make this mistake. Will is always a confidential document of a particular person or a human, whatever. Okay. So he or she, your will is a very personal thing and it amounts to after your death. So you will not be seeing what is going to happen. You only believe that this is going to happen. So you making a will has to be very logical and it has to have no sort of what you call no ambiguity. Basically, ambiguity means something which is hidden, something which you think it is, but it might not give a clear statement to the legal department or to the court or to your children. This will lead again to further problems between your children where they will start fighting with each other. No, 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 my father meant this only. I know about my father. The other one will say, no, my father did not mean this. Then they both will be going to the court. Your intention would be different, but your things after life would become more dirtier, which if you were alive, you wouldn't have made it at all. So therefore, think appropriately, think very logically, think very as a visionary. What would happen after 100 years or in 100 years' time? So you think of at least 3 generations, your son, your granddaughter, your grandson, or whatever. So you can only think so much. After that, what your family is going to do with your property, you don't know. So you have to think very logically how it has to go. So let us now take a person who's having lots of movable properties. Okay, when it comes to movable properties, whether these properties come under the municipal corporation or whether it comes under the revenue department, whether it comes under what and all this stuff, you have to keep ready. So please take a pen and paper and keep it as a note that you should have the property documents that is related to your sale deed. Then prior to you buying, whose the mother deed of that property. Then before that, whose it was. Then if it was a layout, the layout plan. Then the property's khata, the tax paid certificates. All this has to be in place. Whether you have paid tax till date, whether you have made the khata transferred in your name. Because what will happen is even the revenue department starts troubling your children for transferring the khata in their name after your demise. So you won't believe they'll be running around from pillar to post to get the khata transferred in their name. So always see to it that your properties, you see whether it comes under the revenue, whether it comes under the BBMP limits, whether it comes under BMRD or BDA or whatever. So you have to take a proper layout plan and all the documents concerned to that. Any litigations concerned with that property has to be mentioned. Whether anyone has filed a case against this property, what is happening in the court of law, all those stuff you have to write. Then in case of movable properties, these are the stuff you have to give these details to your advocate. Then you have to say, these are the properties I have and I have this many children. Now the children's name, their age, their gender. Then comes each one is where are they residing. So you have to give the name, age, gender and residence to the advocate. Then make a requisition letter addressed to so and so and so. These are my properties. These are the documents I am submitting along with this. And these are my children and these are their records. And it has to be done very confidentially without knowing to your children or relatives or whoever it is. That's why I said, don't wait till you become bedridden. If you become bedridden, your children will prepare this will and they'll bring it to you when you are in the ICU or in the deathbed. And they will not even be able to take your signature. They'll only take your thumb impression. Probably you will not even be in a position to understand what they have written in the will. So they'll just take your thumb impression and the beneficiary of that would be someone who has a vested interest in your property. So in order to avoid all this, do it when you are fit like a fiddle, fit and healthy. Okay. So make it when you are like that. Don't wait for yourself to go to the bed. Then comes immovable properties. Mention to the advocate that I have so much of insurances, life insurance coverage. I have whether it is how much money is insured, then your mutual funds, your shares, then your bank balance, your fixed deposits, your gold, your ornaments. All this comes under the movables. So you understand these things. And now, if suppose these are your properties, now if you have only one child, there is no problem. Okay, it will go straight away. But for example, if you are from a joint family property, if it is a joint family, and then you own a share of that property, might be, let us assume you are one among the 8 children, then you will get 1/8 the share of that property. So that 1/8 share of the property alone, you will be able to give in the will. And that you have to mention very clearly that this property is under litigation. It is my ancestral property. We are fighting for this. And in case of that property where my children will become the legal heirs to fight the case, this is what, suppose you have 2 children and you are fighting this case and you don't make a will, then you die. They will come in your shoes. Now, after getting that property, again, your son and daughter will be fighting for that. So you make a will, stating that in case of me winning this case, the property, once it comes into my thing, there's a partition suit, and once it comes into my name, I want both my children to share the property in such a ratio. But now girls are also having equal rights. Therefore, you have to make a will which does not hinder the recent laws. So you should be aware of all this stuff. And in order to stop multiplicity of litigation, think twice before you make a will. And see that daughter or son, both are equal, and share of the property should be equal for both of them. Okay, so that is one aspect. The next aspect is, what else? Now you have given all these informations. Then you will be giving your Aadhaar card, you will be giving your property details, you will be giving your PAN card details, you will be giving all the details of the bank balance and all this stuff. And then the lawyer will prepare the will for you. One fine day, he will tell, please come at so and so time. He will make it ready for the registration. You should go to the sub-registrar office, concerned jurisdictional registration office, wherein you will go and give your thumb impression, and the document gets registered, and the sub-registrar signs it. Now, after making this document, what next? Are you going to keep it with you? What if your children or the known people or someone destroys this? So they will say, we don't know. But if it is a registered will, definitely it will be there. It's a public document. They can collect it. They will see for that. If you keep this an executor for this will, how do you, after your death, how you wanted this to be executed? So you can always appoint a executor of the will. So your lawyer can be a executor, and you can tell your advocate to make after your demise, to execute the will that is made. So it is always good that you keep one copy with your advocate, or give the originals to him, or keep the original in the bank locker and keep the Xerox with them, and tell your children that I have made whatever happens to me, if I'm not there in my absence, you have to go to the advocate. That's it. Don't tell you have made this, that, and all that. But usually I have seen wherein parents are brought by their children itself to make a will. So that is actually wrong, I feel personally, because will is a very confidential thing. So these are the requirements in making a will, executing a will, and what are the types of properties and how you make a will. So any questions?
Madam, you have almost covered all the questions raised in the chat box. Yes, you have covered almost all the questions. See, in fact, chat box, people have raised these kind of questions. I'll just ask, is there any right age, right time to write a will?
There is no age at all. That's what I told. Do the will. Yeah. And one more thing I'll tell you in this. Suppose you make a will at a young age, but as you keep growing old, you are seeing that your children are, their characters, their nature, and you feel that they don't deserve it. You can always make another will. So the previous will gets cancelled. The recent will before your death would be executed. So your previous wills all becomes null and void. So don't hesitate to make a will. But on knowing someone's character or someone's person and you feel that they don't deserve what you have, then be bold and step ahead and see to it you cancel that and make a new will.
Sir,
Then the registered will can be cancelled, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
You can go and tell that I want the previous will to be cancelled. Your lawyer will do it. He'll cancel it. He'll make a new will and register it. So the recent will be taken into consideration.
Is it necessary to register a will? Because I keep hearing that it is not necessary to register a will.
See, a will can be on a piece of paper also.
It just 2 witnesses are necessary.
With 2 necessary witness. 2
So
necessary witness. Yes.
Will it be
Now, in a world of bribery, 2 wills, 2 witnesses can also be purchased by either of your children. That can lead to another litigation. So you should always have a witness who have best interest in your desires. I said in your desires, not your children's desires.
let me go ahead with the questions raised in the box, ma.
Tell me, sir.
One is that, okay, see, I have both, see, in fact, Mr. Amarnath has raised a question. I have both ancestral and personal property. I do not know what he likes to ask. Mr. Amarnath, can you unmute yourself and talk? Mr. Amarnath?
You can unmute.
Yeah.
Can you unmute yourself and talk, sir?
Yeah, I unmuted.
Yeah, talk, sir.
I am Dr. Amarnath.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have 2 children.
Okay.
Both are doctors.
Mm-hmm.
One is a geriatrician in
Okay.
Manipal Hospital,
Okay.
and another is a radiologist. She is in US.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I mean, I am in the process of preparing a will.
Okay.
Now the question is, I have an ancestral property which I have inherited. I am the Karta of the HUF.
Okay.
Can you just switch on your photo video, sir?
Yeah,
Yeah, excellent. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir, please.
I am the Karta of HUF. My son is a co-partner. Okay. Now, the question is, my daughter stays in US. She is having a daughter.
Okay.
Okay. My daughter is a radiologist. She is also having a property in US.
Okay.
Okay. As far as my son is concerned, as already told, he is a geriatrician in Manipal Hospital, Dr. Anup Amarnath. And he has a flat. And my daughter has also a flat in Bangalore. Okay. Now, my property is, I have an ancestral property where I am living. My son is also living with me.
Okay.
Okay. My son is married. He is having 1 child, 1 son. My daughter is married. She is having a daughter.
Age of the child?
Yeah.
Age of the child?
My son's child is 12 years.
Okay.
My daughter's child is 18 years.
Okay.
Okay. Now, in addition to my ancestral property, I have acquired 1 property which is under litigation. And another property recently I have purchased is a farmland.
Okay.
The farmland one, it is both in my name as well as in my wife's name.
Okay.
Okay. Next, my wife has a property. Actually, it is, I have purchased, I wanted to be in my wife's name, and I constructed also. Now everything is in my wife's name only. Even though I did it, it is in my wife's name. In addition to that, I have bank deposits, mutual funds, and equity also. Now the question is, how to divide this property.
See, you will be knowing better about.
Basic things I am aware.
Now what you have to do is.
I am a retired banker.
Okay.
I am a retired banker. retired from Indian Bank as a deputy general manager. Basic things see, now the question is, my daughter is in US. She may not come back to India.
Okay.
Okay, she has her property there. But I do not want to desert her also, because she is entitled for the property. And how to go ahead?
Now you make all your ancestral properties separate, your self-earned property separate. Remember, in ancestral property, both will be getting equal shares.
Yeah.
And in self-earned property, you can write it to anyone, even a person on the road also, or orphanage also. So you write down everything. Ancestral property, we have so much, we have movable so much, and my wife, and both of you make a joint will.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you tell that as long as we both are alive, suppose one of you goes away, the property shall vest with my wife, and after her demise, since we both have thought the same way, it has to be in accordance to what we have made, what type of will we have made. So you have to make a joint will there. So your wife's property is also, in case someone's wife dies, the properties will be vested on the husband. In case the husband dies, the property will be vested to the wife. But both your desires are the same, that the property has to be divided in such a way to both the children. It has to be always equal.
The question is, joint will in respect of both ancestral property and individual property?
Yes, you can make it together.
Together, not separate.
Nothing. And the litigation one, you should mention that there is a litigation. I told you previously only, if there is a litigation, you have to write it in the will that this is the litigation. And during my lifetime, if it is solved, this property has to go to equally for both. And even after my lifetime, and if the case is in our favor, the property has to be equally divided. You can write like that.
Can this litigation property be exclusively given to my son? Because I don't want to trouble my daughter.
Yeah, it can be. Is it a self-earned property?
It's a self-earned property.
Okay, you can.
Okay.
Next
is equal for both.
Do they mention their part?
I already told them how it is. Yes.
Sir, madam.
Next is whether this will has to be registered.
Yes, if you register it, it is very good so that it becomes a public document. If you don't register and keep this will somewhere, someone might, if it is not there in their favor, they might even destroy it.
Officially not mandatory.
Officially not mandatory. Even a piece of paper, you write it in your diary, in a paper, or give it to anyone. Even nowadays, WhatsApp is also a message, and your will is written on that, and you tell it to some friend, this is my wish, and this is my last thing, that this is how it should be done. That also can be used in the court of law. So in the court of law, anything can happen. A very good case will fail, a very bad case will win. That's the fate.
Video recording?
Video recording, yes. Yes, you can make a video and send it to your friend or someone, and is in case of thing, that also acts as a thing. Your wish.
The thing is that video has to be preserved. That's the only. That friend has to preserve that video, because we do not know when the inevitable will happen.
It's always better you make a written document.
Written document is always better, and a registered document is always better.
Yes. Correct.
Vayomanasa sir, your question is over, sir. Can I move to the next one? Next person.
I hope I was clear.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Madam, the next question is from another person. He says he wants to know the procedure to probate a will. They want Mr. Gopal.
Yes. Probate is something where the execution of the will takes place. In the sense, the will usually in case of when it is not disputed, then it is not required. But if it is disputed, or if you feel that by making a will, there is a proper certification in favor of the beneficiary, then probating is, in case of Christians or Muslims, it is always better to do a probate. Otherwise, in Hindus, it is not so necessary to do a probate. But even then, in order to avoid future litigations and things, you can always file a probate. In order to file a probate, you have to tell your advocate and he will do. It is called as probate and succession certificate. So P and SC, that is probate and succession certificate, will be issued by the court on paying appropriate court fees. So it should not, if it is undisputed or both of parties are agreed and filing together, also it will be given like equally, whatever you have written on the will, the same thing will be issued by the court. After proper, they'll do paper publication, then they will tell them to do evidence, then if any arguments, same procedures, any cross-examination, anything required. If no objections, they'll write no objections, nil objections. Then in the later on stage, they will make a judgment. And after taking that judgment, you will be sent to the court officer, wherein they will issue you a succession certificate on paying a particular court fees, which the court will tell you.
So this probate can be done even while one is alive.
No, it's only after one's demise.
After somebody's demise.
Yes. After one's demise only, our successor or beneficiary alone can do this.
Exactly. And not the madam. This reminds me, why not be people going for settlement deeds? Settlement deed is somewhat better in the sense that during one's life itself, one can be sure that this property goes to
it is like this. I've seen many people doing this and then they have nothing. So again, whatever share you are having as your share also, after your death, you have to give it to someone.
Yes.
And then again, you have to make a will only.
Okay. At least
you can make a settlement. You can make a settlement, but once your share, if you give away all your shares and your properties, there is always risk of you being abandoned.
No, I'm not talking about all the properties, only with regard to this, property.
Whatever property you are writing on the settlement.
Immobile properties, because, madam, my experience is that going for a probating of your bill, for claiming this immobile property left behind by the relative, then the court fee and other, the advocate charges, etc., it comes to almost 10 to 12% of the property value. Am I right? No. Am I right, madam?
No, it doesn't come so much.
It doesn't come so much because normally
2 or 3%.
3%, they say it's the stamp duty. Stamp duty for
that's it. And that is about the stamp value is different. Court probate fees is different.
Okay. The stamp, it needs
I remember for a matter of 50 lakhs, you might end up paying around 40,000-50,000.
That is around 10%. 1%.
1%.
But they say, advocates say that 3% value of the property, you have to get a valuation certificate.
Yeah, valuation. You have to valuate your property because see, court fees varies from for everything. Up to 80,000, it is one fees. Above 80,000, it is another fees. And above 1 crore with that particular percent plus 1% on the remaining property value. Like that it is calculated. That is for filing. But the court fees in case of probate will be different.
Okay. Therefore, your view is that it will not cost that much. Therefore, still bill is better.
Yes.
Okay, doctor. Doctor and madam, thank you for that.
You can call me doctor, madam, mother, whatever you want.
Spouse dies, there is a will, there is no will. What happens? Spouse dies, there is a will, there is no will. What happens?
Now, if one of the spouses, either the husband or the wife, anyone expires, okay, you have A is the husband, B is the wife. Now, A has lots of properties and he dies. What would happen? Okay, the property automatically gets transferred to B, the wife, the spouse. The spouse has to make a will. Or when both A and B are alive itself, make a joint will.
If there is a will, what should the P do?
If there is a will, then you have to go for a probate. If there is no will, then both of you have to go for a partition. The children will go for a partition, this one, suit. They'll file it in the court and get partition suit done. It might take 2-3 years if both of them attend properly.
One more person, Leela Reddy has raised a question. Can we change the registered will? Yes, madam has already answered.
I told you in the beginning itself. You can write any number of will.
Codicil, correction.
You see the first one. If you feel it is not appropriate, you feel any changes in your property, I mean your children and behaviors of them, and you don't feel like giving any one of them. If it is a self-earned property, then you always have a right to change it.
Minor correction, codicil, whatever.
Anything, the next will can be automatically. This gets cancelled.
While there is a partition, so see, next question is raised by Galaxy A12. I would rather request people to come in their name instead of these kinds of, cell phone names, etc. See, while there is a partition suit going on, I pass away. Can my husband or daughter take the case forward?
Yes. Yes, they can.
They can. Okay. The next question is from Soma Narayanan. My wife is only daughter for her parents.
Okay.
Now my mother-in-law is alive. She don't want to write a will. Is the property will automatically transfer to my wife after my mother-in-law's period? There is
now, whether your wife is having other siblings?
No, madam, she is the only daughter.
Then automatically it will come to. If it is only child, then there is no problem.
That is what he says. It's the only child. Okay. Even in that case, better to persuade your mother-in-law to write a will.
Yes, it will always be better because someone else should not misuse their aged factors, or someone else should not influence upon them and get something done. So in order to avoid any complications here and there, it's always better to prevent. So you make her to do a will. That's it.
But the biggest question is that he says that she is not willing to make a will.
Why?
I don't know. He says in this question that this mother-in-law is not willing to make a will. Probably somebody always feels that if I make a will, I may die. So I don't
probably. Definitely that is under the purview of Dr. Herbishetter. Vijay Kumar sir. He should convince your mother and her mother and tell, please, it doesn't happen like that. If you make a will, you will live longer.
Yeah. So that kind of assurance somebody should need.
That is not under my purview.
We can give that. We have said that we are not, repositories of knowledge and blessings, etc. Therefore, we can use the blessings.
Yes, sir. Anyone?
Any other person like to answer any other thing? Any other person?
So nice, sir. I have cleared all their doubts, I think so. No question. You can always reach me through, my number is there with Vijay Kumar sir, Dr. Herbishetter Vijay Kumar. So you please call him. He will give you my number and I will tell him how exactly, if anything required from his side also, we can do it, because that's how doctors and lawyers we should work as.
Priyadharshini ma'am, this is Sujya here.
Yes.
This is Sujya Jagdish.
Yes, madam.
Okay, I just have a quick question. There is a partition suit that's going on.
Okay.
Once it's settled, what is it called?
The property.
Property, yeah. The kata will be transferred without any issues, right? There should not be a...
Yes. It will immediately. You can go take the document with you, partition suit judgment copy with you, go and give it along with the Kata transfer requisition. They'll give you form and all that. And then your Kata procedures are usual in the revenue office. So they'll follow their administrative work, whatever.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Thank
not
you.
a problem.
Thank you. Yeah.
Madam, can you say something about this Parents and Senior Citizens Act?
Parents and?
Parents and Senior Citizens Act. Under the
See, under that, yes, there is. We have seen so many cases wherein the parents file this in the family courts. Usually, that I think we can take it as a separate thing, wherein I will give you informations about how to protect yourself, how to use this particular act to help yourself, and how if your children abandon you, what would happen if your caretakers do some mischief against you, or if someone is trying to misuse your old age, how to prevent yourself from any untoward incidents, and how you can be protected. So how you should take care of your health as well as your wealth is what our team will do for you.
so that you feel that such a big act that it needs a separate.
Yes. Because that is all about your security measures, your helpline, your wealth being protected, your health being protected, your life being protected, and your future being ascertained that you are in, you die dignified. We all should die dignifiedly, isn't it? Dignity is more important than anything else. So we need to die dignified. So we need to take care that our last breath has a logical conclusion without any litigation in the future. So you should have a vision.
So, Doctor, similarly about this advanced medical directive, that is living will. I think even now there was a very big case in the Supreme Court, and there was lots of discussion on that. And I think this, this is a very probably it's also a very big subject. I do agree.
Yes. We will have it as a separate thing, if you are interested in different types of case laws, like for example, speedy disposal of senior citizen cases. It doesn't happen all those stuff but for academic purpose, I can be very convincing to you, but in the practical things, it doesn't happen like what it seems to be rosy. You remember that if you're 80 years old and you're still fighting a partition suit, then you always have a right to go to the High Court and ask for a speedy disposal since you're aged, and in case I die fighting, so I don't know what's going to happen to my children. When I am alive, I would like to see that the property, there is a logical conclusion to my right. So you can always approach the High Court for as an appellant court, asking them for a speedy disposal of your matter. So the court usually considers for a senior citizen and gives directions to the thing. But now, once again, even that is a legal cost for you, a lawyer, the legal expenses, then the direction, and for that direction, you might be running around for 3 months. I don't know. It might take place in 3 weeks, or it might take 3 months or 3 years. It depends. So how you want it to happen is also a thing.
Yes.
So practicality is different.
So
Yes.
it comes with a cost. There is a cost attached to anything.
Suppose you have lots of property and you have money, there's no problem. But you don't have money, you're fighting for your ancestral property, and you don't know what's going to happen, then that is what is going to be a problem.
That is right. Okay. Now, Doctor, you have said that Vijay Kumar Hebishendar has your number.
Yes.
I also have your number. See, yes, see. But please tell me whether I am authorized to give your number to anybody.
Yes, sir. Most welcome. I stay in, nowadays I'm in Delhi more. But you can always contact me and I can put you on to the right people who are, see, one cannot guarantee life itself. So one cannot guarantee about other advocate also. Let me be very open about it. But I will try my best to see that our office handles it for you by the right hands, good hands.
Yeah, Dr. Amarnath has asked your contact number.
Yes. I'll definitely do it for you. No problem.
Okay, okay. Because many of them may not know Dr. Vijay Kumar Abhisheka's number, or he may be quite busy also.
Yes, that is there. But sir always makes it a point that he gives my number to all people whomever he knows.
No doubt about it. It's not a reflection on
I'm always there. Anytime 24/7 my numbers are there. You can call me, no problem. And see that whenever you are in emergency, you can definitely call me. But when you're not, you feel it is not emergency, and I might be in work. So from morning 9 o'clock to 2 o'clock, we'll be in the courts. Then again from 3 o'clock to 5 o'clock, we'll be in courts. So anytime after 5:30 or 6 till night, anytime, no problem. And in the early mornings from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock is also no problem. This is my timings. But in case of emergency, you are always open to call me anytime. No problem.
Thank you, doctor. That really lots of strength.
Our Professor Koka is there. Is he able to hear me? Koka sir, you're not talking anything.
Koka sir, kindly unmute, sir.
Unmute your speaker.
Sir, ask you unmute, sir.
Yes.
Yes, Koka sir. How are you?
Yes, sir. So I think
He is not unmute. Koka sir, you're not unmuting your.
he has unmuted, but again muted.
Okay.
Yes.
He said hello.
Huh?
He said hello.
And something is bad internet, I think.
Could be, ma. Could be.
Yes. So remaining all people, anything question can always be asked. I think Dr. Bharti is there. I think Koka sir is there. Vijay Kumar sir is there. So many whom I know. I think at least 10 people are from my side only, sir.
Good. We want them to attend regularly.
Because I am there, they're attending, I think so. I don't know.
We have a last question from a chat box.
Ah.
A registered will is there, but the latest one is unregistered. Whether the second one holds good?
Actually, even if it is unregistered and it is latest, it holds good. But I advise that it should be registered.
Okay.
Indicate to.
It's always better. An unregistered bill may not take precedence over the registered bill. Is it?
No, even if it is unregistered and if it is a recent one, it holds good. But I would say prefer that it gets registered.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Hope I have done justice to this.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. Because I just have a loss. I look at my dear viewers, whether they have any other question. If they do not have any other question, the time is already up. Doctor is also a very busy person, not only a doctor but also a lawyer. Therefore,
actually, I have come exclusively for our Vijay Kumar sir, and since you all are senior citizens.
Thank you.
I was fully stuck with work, and then I thought I'll come for this because children and senior citizens and animals and environment, I'm very, very particular. I'm always there for them.
That's right, ma. In fact, that's great. So we must admit, madam. I really thank you on behalf of myself and on behalf of NIMHANS, as well as on behalf of all my viewers, for freely spending your time, energy, and knowledge, and sharing it without any doubt, sharing it very clearly. I really thank you for that, man. It was a very pleasant experience for many of us, because many things we don't understand, especially these legal terms. Therefore, you have made it very easy, and anybody can understand. That kind of a thing you have made it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Most welcome.
On behalf of all my colleagues and all my group members, and on my behalf, I pray God to shower on you all that are the best in life, ma. And
thank you, sir. Thank you.
Very happy to see you soon as highly elevated to the Supreme Court as a judge.
Blessings, sir, your blessings.
That is our wish, ma. That is our wish. So
Thank you,
that
sir.
our voice will be heard.
Definitely, definitely. If I'm there, definitely.
Ma'am, we,
It will
ma'am,
be
we
heard.
need one more session for the safety of
Yes,
senior
yes.
citizens.
I will give on law enforcement and security measures and all that.
So,
Thank you.
probably during your next visit to Bangalore.
Yes, yes. Next visit,
You
I'll
can
make.
do it from your home at Delhi also. Ma. That's no
I
need.
can do it, but here what happens is here there is no disturbance and all are available and they do all the technical things properly. Otherwise, from my side, when I talk, the relay might not be there, the internet connectivity is not there, and all that. Right now, you are able to hear me nicely and audible, and everything is perfect.
Yes, ma. Yes, that's that's great thing that's being done by NIMHANS in the background, Geriatrics department. That they are
Yes.
doing a very great job, ma. People
Yes.
are because of that.
Yeah, I can see on a big board all of you, and I can see all of you big. Otherwise, in my small, tiny mobile, I hate mobile.
Yeah. Thank you. It's
Thank
in fact, one of my group members has written, thank you very so much. It's a very thought-provoking session.
My pleasure. Pleasure is all mine.
So it has created so much of impression in all of them. Ma. Thank you. Thank
Thank
God.
you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Namaste.
Super.
Madam, thank you very much, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Very, very useful, madam.
Thank you. Anytime, any help.
Thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam, thank you, madam. Useful information, madam. Thank
Thank
you so
you.
much. Thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for a wonderful session. Thank you on behalf of VMS.
Fatima, madam, you can if
Yeah.
yes, you
Yeah.
can.
Thank you so much for your presence and the good presentation. Okay.
Naran correct, madam.